Alright, how's it going, guys? We are back here in Surviving GT6 Season 3, and we are finally going to get started on bauxite processing today. And for that, we're going to make a gibbelometer, because we are going to need that. You don't technically need it, but it's a really good idea to use. And we're also going to make a bronze drum. I've gone through and made a bunch of lead chests so I can change out a lot of chests around here. We did have a couple live streams the other day, and in that we moved around barrels a bit. So you can see there's lots of gaps over there. We moved all of the stuff that can be centrifuged in our current centrifuge down here. Everything that can be roasted on that line up there. And we also did run a water line, this nice blue one here, over to the electrolyzer. That way we could run salt through our electrolyzer to get sodium hydroxide, which we need for multiple things in aluminum processing. I went ahead and put about a stack of it in there, and I have the garnierite up here at the moment, along with the selector tag. So as soon as the salt goes, the selector tag will drop in, and we'll go right back to garnierite processing. Because we changed this over to do salt and water, which the recipe, by the way, is as such. So it takes 3,000 liters of water, does not have to be distilled, and a thing of salt, and it gives you 6 small pieces of sodium hydroxide, chlorine, hydrogen, and oxygen. Because we now have 3 fluid outputs, I upgraded to a nanopulp pipe, which is ran out here along the top of this one, back under the ledge. So we now have our oxygen tank, a chlorine tank, and a hydrogen tank. And if we pillar up here, which I wanted hydrogen in here, not chlorine, so I'm really hoping chlorine is lighter than air, or else I'm screwed, because we will not be able to get that out of there. Hydrochloric acid, chlorine, heavier than air. I'm screwed. Okay, so we're not going to be able to get that out of there easily. We can get it out. There's only 22 liters in there. So what we're going to do, I guess this is a good thing to show you guys here. So we're going to take that, so no more can get put in there. And we're going to grab our tap, which this is not what I made this drum for, but it's a good use for it for the moment. Oh, we also got the stuff to start making ultimate, so we have ultimate processing right now, which I'll be using to make pipes, so we can upgrade our pipes over there, so things can move a bit better and a bit faster. Alright, so if we... Oh, this needs a gas nozzle. because, well, it's chlorine, it's gas. It's not a liquid. Stop being stupid. I guess this is a good time to show you guys how to make a gas nozzle then. Which we're going to go ahead and make both of them, because there are two. Where is that thing? It's just called a nozzle. Stainless steel nozzle. Okay. We're going to go ahead and make the stainless steel version, which means we need a rubber ring and we need a small bending cylinder. So the small bending cylinder we need to get done first, and it is basically just 3 ingots, which we'll use steel for it. I could probably actually, yeah, I'm not going to use very many of these, so I'm just going to use 3 lead. There's very few uses for a small bending cylinder. Oh, wait a minute. I don't even need the bending cylinder for this one. I just need the rings and the curved plates. Okay. So, never mind. I do need to make the small bending cylinder, though. But that's for the cap, which I'm going to go ahead and make today as well. Alright, so for the regular stainless, yeah, I do need, I swore I did. I clicked on plastic, didn't I? Yeah, we need this, which is saw, file, and hammer. I swore I needed that. I clicked on the wrong one. Saw, file, hammer. There's our small bending cylinder. Excuse me, I'm not an idiot. I just play one on YouTube. Alright, so we need 2 curved stainless plates and a rubber ring. So let's get 2 stainless, and then we're going to do the stainless cap nozzle as well, which needs a screw, a round, and a nozzle. So we're going to make a second nozzle. So let's go ahead and get those on there. And while we're at it, we're going to make a stainless steel tap, which is 3 more of them. The stainless steel tap is so we can pick up acids if we need to, because you can't use ceramic with acids. Alright, so we're going to start with those 2. And then we need the hammer there, and I'm pretty sure I don't have a rubber ring. Really stupid, you knew that was going to happen. Thank you. That's why you never click on a machine with a plate in your hand. We used to have that problem a long time ago with the work table, and it was a real pain in the butt when you would go to click to craft something and your plate was in your hand and you click this and it would actually block out your crafting grid. It was even worse when you did it on the front and your crowbar was in there. That was really, really bad. Luckily, Greg got rid of that quite a while ago. Alright, so there is our stainless steel nozzle, which we're going to throw in our bag. Then we need to make a second one for the cap nozzle. And then we need 3 of these like this. Get rid of that. That is our tap, which, yes, my inventory is a horrible mess at the moment. We'll throw that in there as well. We can get rid of this. You sit right there. Second. Apparently I had some curved plates somewhere. Alright, we need a screw. That goes in there. We need the nozzle. And then what was the... We need the nozzle. We need a round. And a round is just a chunk in a file. So we can just take an ingot here, turn it into a chunk, and I'm going to pop both of these out of here for just a second. And there is our round. With that on the ground. Screw goes there. Nozzle goes there. And then what was the... We need screwdriver, rubber ring, and wrench. Rubber ring, screwdriver, and wrench, and that gives us our cap nozzle. Alright, so what we're going to do, we've been recycling some stainless steel stuff. So we're going to take the rest of these and just throw them in the shredder. That'll mix with any of the screws we had over there and take care of that. So the difference between the cap nozzle, where the hell is it? There it is. The regular nozzle, and then the tap. So this one is for putting things into. Think of this as the female port, and imagine that this has a male port. It's easier to think of it this way, which we can actually use one of these to show it. We have all of these oxygen tanks, and if you look at the top of it, it looks like it has a male nipple sticking off of the top. Well, just imagine that that is going into that female end there, which if we come out here and we stick this on our oxygen tank, which is this one, we can then empty it. So we now have no oxygen left in our thing. And then we can grab this one, which is the male end that would stick in a female end. Get rid of these jerks. So now if we stick this on here and we do that, now we just filled it back up with 8,000 liters of oxygen. Well, we don't need a gas barometer because we have barrels and they work just fine for this as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick this over here and we're going to suck all 22 liters of chlorine out of there, which will get us our quest for chlorine. So now it is empty, and since it is now empty, we can go ahead and get all of the get our wrench back, which is over here, because, again, my inventory is a huge mess. But that's because I have everything for what we're trying to do today in my inventory. Alright, so let's go ahead and go grab that. We're going to dismantle that tank just enough to change where the port is. So we need to pop, wait a minute, do I have, no. Let me throw that, and those in my inventory. Alright, so there is our thing, and I want to actually put this, I was going to put it on the side, but we have something else we're going to be doing today, so we're going to throw this here, and there's a good reason for this to be on the bottom, because of what we're doing. Alright, so now we have readjusted the tank. It is working. So now we could just take our barrel, place it on the top. But since we have our cap nozzle here, we can just stick it here. Bloop. And our drum is empty. And we can now reconnect that. And it'll continue filling with, ooh, excuse me, chlorine. Alright, so next thing we're going to do today is I'm going to show you guys about a good use for chlorine. So we're going to hook this pipe up there, and we're going to run it out there. We're going to put this back, and we're going to take one of our bathing pots here. After we open this, I'll put it right there, and that's going to let all the gas out, if it could go in there, which you'll see it most definitely is not, because it's gas. Can't put gases into wooden barrels, otherwise it would just evaporate out. But what we can do, drop that over there because we need extras of them anyways. We can take the actual bath, and if we look up chlorine here, again, you will see that one use in a bath is to uncolor things. So we're going to take this machine, and now that I have done that the way I did, let's disconnect that real quick so we can connect this back up here. That'll clear that pipe, and now I want to take that pipe out. We can connect that back up, and we're just going to put the bath right there. So it'll fill up with chlorine. And now I can put this back. And if you guys remember, quite a while ago, I got this load of rubber pipes here that I made yellow for our sulfur dioxide. Well, I made 15 extra that I don't need. And rather than melting or shredding down the rubber, all I have to do is throw them in here with the chlorine, and slowly but surely it will clean them back off one at a time, and then I can re-dye them to another color or use them as is. So even though we don't really have a whole lot of use for chlorine early on, this is a good use for it. if you happen to dye more of them than you need. We can also use the chlorine in a mixer with water, and it'll make us hydrochloric acid and oxygen. But we're using our rock salt for that because of a couple reasons, and we're going to try to continue to do this for any hydrochloric acid we need, because we need the bisulfite, and it also uses up our sulfuric acid. One of the major issues with sulfuric acid and sulfur dioxide is there's not a real big sink for it, not a big place for it to go to be used. Sulfur dioxide can only really be taken back to sulfur by mixing it with hydrosulfuric acid, which hydrosulfuric acid means you need to put sulfur and hydrogen together to make the hydrosulfuric acid, and then you mix that with the sulfur dioxide and it'll give you sulfur dust and water, which then you can electrolyze the water to get you the hydrogen, and it's just a big, very slow loop to give you sulfur. Now, Greg would tell you just avoid the excess sulfur dioxide. It's useless. You know me, I don't like to waste anything if possible, and sulfur can be used in a matter replicator to get you 16 of each matter. So I don't want to waste the sulfur. You can also use it for torches and stuff like that. So I like to do this if possible, but it's very costly. But if we use the sulfuric acid to make our hydrochloric acid, that gives us our bisulfite here, and these bisulfites we will be using very soon in an electrolyzer 16, so we can run it through that same one over there, which once we get to aluminum, we'll just be setting up probably an electrolyzer specifically for this. But we can use that to make potassium or sodium, in this case potassium, persulfite, and hydrogen, and that we can use in a bath with all kinds of different minerals. The main ones we're going to be using it with is malachite is the big one. There will be other ones that we will use, but if we look up malachite crushed, this is why I have not been washing any of mine. If we do it in a bath with a persulfite, get to the main one here. There we go. It gives you 9 tiny purified copper. That is not a chance. Every one will give you a full copper if you run it through this. And then we can take the purified malachite and run it through sulfuric acid bathing to give us 9 or 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, a 50% chance of that. But you also get 3 blue vitriol, and every 2 of that recipe you do, you get another copper. So malachite itself is quite useless for making copper. If we look at a full refined malachite, it is going to give us a whopping 0.229 units of copper. It's like a nugget's worth. That's technically 2 nuggets worth. But we can get way more copper out of it through the bathing early on. So we're going to use a lot of bisulfite for that. And there's lots of other recipes that will be running through this as well, and I'll explain that when we actually get to that point. But this gives us a use for all the sulfur dioxide we're making to turn it into sulfuric acid, and then just throw some rock salt in here and we'll get our bisulfite. That'll suck it all up, so then we really won't be needing a lot of chlorine for making hydrochloric acid. Alright, and there is our rubber pipes all done, except for the last one that's running. And now that we have our nozzles made, all of these barometer gas cylinders we have, which basically think of them as a gas version of a jug, just a little bit bigger. We got them out of the GT forts. We have propane, we have oxygen, and we have helium. So all of these that are oxygen, and don't misunderstand that they're colored. This color is just a dye. Because it was holding oxygen, Greg has it auto dyed to that color. When you make it, it'll just be whatever the material is. And I will almost bet you, if we bring it out here to our bath, we can probably undye it so you can see what it actually looks like if you make one. So if you want to make one of these gas cylinders, there it is. So it is a plate, 2 curved plates, another round, 2 rings, and a screw with a screwdriver and a hammer. And there is our stainless steel barometer. That's what it would look like if it wasn't painted for whatever color it is. Now, because we have drums, I really don't have a use to keep these around, so I am going to shred them. And I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of the oxygen ones we have and throw them in there and get them emptied. We also had another update for the quest book, which apparently he had forgotten to give me a cookie for this quest, which I didn't even notice. So there is the quest. We also now have the tiny acid pipe and the nanupal pipe. I'm not sure why he put the nanupal pipe behind the tiny acid pipe, seeing how the tiny acid pipe is not used. I think this might be a goof. That should be small, not tiny. Because the tiny is not used for anything. And the nanupal uses smalls. So this will probably be fixed after he sees this video. Let me go look and see here real quick what the other changes were. Oh, we also have, under utilities, we now have a mass storage quest. So that explains, for anybody that doesn't already know, about our mass storages and the fact that they hold 1 million. Gives you a quest to make them. And I don't have one laying around here that isn't completely full of crap. So I will deal with getting that one a little bit later when I make another one. He also added one to the, is it machine? No. steam age to the extruder line here for making a bookshelf out of metal. Explains why you need it for metal, for putting it up here and holding your extruder shapes. So for anybody that doesn't know that you can do that, we have that quest now. Again, I will take care of that later because my inventory is full. I'm not picking up one of them. Picking that up and having all those shapes throw out in my inventory. And other than a few wording changes and typo fixes, that's it for this quest book update. But that is going to be it for today. Just a little update for you and show you about using the chlorine for cleaning off your dye stuff. And we are going to, in the next one, go set up and make our bauxite processing. So I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.